for one, I'm very Tawny. This is Phil Connors. So long.
Okay, I'm trying to get without the...
Keep on scratching.
Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Alone Together Pittsburgh. I'm your host, Patrick Jordan. Thank you for joining us, welcoming us into your homes and mobile devices. We are here streaming at you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So this would be episode 141, I believe, rounding out week 46. Am I right or am I wrong, Dave?
Bang on, and you are looking good.
Oh, are you talking about my haircut?
You got a haircut?
Exactamundo. So anyway, thanks for joining us. If it's your first time, welcome. It's not always this smooth. We started this show as a way to keep a sense of community going on with the community during the time of COVID, which we're living in now. We started right when the shelter-in-place order came down last March, and if you do the math on 46 weeks, that's when we started the show. So a couple of things. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you tonight. It is Friday, so you've got some hardcore regulars. You've got Natalie Bencivenga's 5 Minutes With. You've got Dave Bracey. It's going to be talking local brews, all right? And tonight, very special, Stephanie Brea is going to be here from very local Pittsburgh, and so much more than just that. So we've got a lot to dig into here tonight. But I will say that it is going to be it's going to be a great show, fun show, but a couple pieces of housekeeping to talk about before we dive in. One, our Venmo is ticking across the screen below. It is @TogetherPGH. I will try not to hit you guys up for that verbally, although we're ticking across there right now. Any money you could kick in would be fantastic. Any money that comes in goes directly to the artists involved in the show on each night. So we would greatly appreciate it, as would they. There's a lot of, there's not as much work going on as there was 11 months ago. So anyway, that's cool. That aside, it's also on PayPal as well if you're not on Venmo, and you can go to togetherpgh.com and check that out. Haircut and beard puffs. Oh, wait. Are you noticing something? Mrs. Mansueto said something. Tara, oh, did you do that while awake? Yes. Okay, so what's happening here was from like a dare, I'm guessing, but it is something new. It is something exciting. Dave, do you want to explain, or do you want to like show everyone at home why this happened?
Just COVID style, man. Just change, making it crazy. You know what I mean? Crazy times, crazy face.
Crazy times, crazy face, crazy anything. I mean, we should have been doing this a long time ago because we're kind of like stuck here. Why not shave the side of your head, which is what Pete Spinda is going to be doing for next week. Last week, Dave did the monkey tail. I don't know if you want to show that off of like a dare on show. Joe King, where we were doing the Bernie off, one of the judges showed that off. And then look at that thing. Look at that. That is a work of art. Okay. So that took time and that took cojones, right? This right here, I don't know what this is. Does this look, what would you describe this as, Dave? This facial hair configuration?
Metallica, Beehive, 90s, coffee shop, rock, McLaughlin, save the free range chickens.
Okay. All right. That's a lot. I'll put that on a t-shirt with an arrow pointing right up at this Jim Dandy here. Let's see what Bunny thinks about it. Let's see the Bunny cam. I think Bunny's ashamed of me right now, and is just giving me the rear end, and that's okay. That's okay. So a couple of things before we dive into this. We do the show because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and things are not they might seem like they're getting better, but we're right in the thick of things. I think we're right at like halftime right now at what this thing is. They're throwing different variables at us. There's Bunny's face. Pete must have spun her around. She's very confused. But so yes, there are some vaccines out there, but there are variants coming of COVID right now that are not rendering the vaccines useless, but they're making them a little bit less that. So even if you get the vaccine, keep on masking up. Keep on keeping your distance. And if you don't have the vaccine, you got no other choice. Please. It's not the political season that it used to be. So now put on a mask. Put on 2 masks if you have to. Keep the social distancing. Keep washing your hands. Doing the hand sanitizer. There was like, when this show started, there was like a run on hand sanitizer. Like it was like liquid gold. Okay. And then now there's hand sanitizer everywhere. Like you can get hand sanitizer out of like vending machines with like soda and hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer, it's like it's caught up. Okay, so you got no excuse on that front. Get some hand sanitizer, put some masks on, keep your distance, keep doing stuff. You have to do it outside. I know it's cold, but you know what? It's colder than ICU. So remember what Bruce Springsteen says. He agrees with me. Because he's the boss. I'm just letting that sit, that Bruce Springsteen agrees with me. But
put on a fucking mask.
So just listen to the boss. Keep that going. On a side note or on a regular note, Allegheny County, the COVID numbers for today were 364, which is, like I said yesterday, it was better than it was a few weeks ago when we were doing 1,500, but we still need to get that number down. I mean, 6 months ago, I was freaking out that we were in 100. And now we're at 364. So please continue. It's serious. This is my PSA for the night, and I will try not to harp on it again until the very end of the show. Keep the social distancing. Keep that going. Now, to the show tonight, all right, to get into it. In honor of one of our guests, in honor of our first guest, all right, in honor of Stephanie being here, she's got some tie-ins, and she did some straight-up interviews with Punxsutawney Phil. So, in that respect, we're going to have an in-show poll for you tonight that's revolving around Groundhog Day. Dave, take it.
Did you ever kind of feel like the current life that you're living reminds you of a movie that came out 20 years ago but still is more relevant today than ever was relevant before? That's right. We're going to bring up your favorite movie starring the man Bill the Murphy, William Johnson Murray in his best role ever. Groundhog Day. We are doing a groundhog off, a Bill off, a Patrick Jordan off, a ground hole. Look at that ground hole. If you don't like a groundhog, say, get out of here, you ground holes. You're an empty, vacant hole, walking through the cemetery, digging holes, trying to trap human beings in their holes. These groundhogs are evil. You got to stop these damn groundhogs. And Pittsburgh has a long lineage attached to the history of groundhogs. Every year, the groundhog comes and feasts on the children of the rich and brings presents to all the poor children in the land. So we want to know, when you die by groundhog, what's your favorite Bill Murray death in the movie Groundhog? Voting starts now. Get to it, Pittsburgh. This is your life over and over and over and over again.
I love the tie-in, Dave. That was genius. And Groundhog Day is technically a Pittsburgh movie. So here are your options. You can vote for when Bill Murray stepped in front of the truck, when he put a toaster in the bathtub, when he took a swan dive from the clock tower, or my personal favorite, when Bill and Phil drive off the cliff and the car explodes. So if you haven't seen the movie, here's a late spoiler alert. All this happens in the movie. But you get the point. If you, I don't think you can make it a spoiler alert with the movie Groundhog Day now, 25 odd years later. But get your votes in right now. Let us know what you think, and we'll check in on it periodically. That poll tonight, mind you, is brought to you by Engine House 25 Winery. If you go to eh25.com, you will find out everything you need to know about eh25.com. So you go there, they've got a wide selection of wines you can get for you, from reds to whites to Chardonnays and Rosés. They've also got some killer swag. I will put this wine up against anything. There's a lot of sports themes too, because the Engine House 25 is also home to the Roberto Clemente Museum. So these athletes that you see on the bottles here, not Roberto Clemente, but the ones that are still with us, They like Franco Harris picked his own blend that you can buy. So you're having that there with that. So if you tell them at Engine House 25 that you found out about them from Alone Together Pittsburgh, you'll receive $5 off per bottle. That's $5 off per bottle. They are doing free shipping during the pandemic and locally in the Pittsburgh area, and they're also doing curbside for you. So tell them we sent you, get $5 off, and check them out at eh25.com. Also, Lola's Eatery, which is also connected there, has some killer Valentine's Day options going there. Stuff everyone's thinking about dinner, but have you thought about breakfast? Lola's has everything from bagels to specialty donuts and everything else you can imagine. So get on that website, check it out, eh25.com. So that said, get the voting in there right now. Pete, Dave, what would you vote for?
I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, good. Pete, what would be your choice?
That's a good one. I don't know. I'm rewatching the movie now.
All right, I'll tell you what.
I'll let you know at the end of the show.
That sounds good. We'll check back in with you guys. We'll check back in with you guys after we talk to Stephanie. I think it's time to bring her out here right now. So Stephanie Brea from very local Pittsburgh and so much more. I cannot wait to talk to her about lots of things. Let's welcome her here right now. The podcast is taking the town by storm. Here she is. Stephanie, how you doing?
Hi.
Welcome to Alone Together. Nice to see you here.
Nice to see you too, virtually.
Virtually. Well, this is as close as we get here right now, and I'm sure you're thrilled that this facial hair configuration was for your show.
I am actually, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I mean, you've got a long history. You were doing events in parking lots. You were doing events everywhere, and then COVID happens, right?
Yes.
So it causes you to pivot and become even more creative. Now, what have you gotten into here?
Right. So just like you guys started this show, my job quickly changed. We canceled all of the events that we had scheduled for, I guess it would have been the weekend of like March 13th, 14th. Mm-hmm. And I took over the production of the podcast that we have at Very Local, and it's called The Slaw, Staying on Top of Pittsburgh, for those of you that haven't listened. And I had been booking guests prior to the pandemic reaching Pittsburgh, but I kind of took on a larger role, doing a little bit more producing, making some editing choices, some social promotions. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. And then we've been doing some video work as well, so making that pivot to video. So
when's the video going to come out?
We have some video episodes now. We have some short video episodes now, and then eventually we're working towards what would be like a full length episode. So I don't want to give any real dates because that never goes according to plan.
And also time is a flat circle. It really doesn't matter.
Well, it's like the Groundhog Day. It's like the same. It's like everything's the same over and over and over again. So
all right. So speaking of Groundhog Day, and we already kind of like buried. Well, I don't want to say we buried the lead. We already blew up the lead. All right. So tell me about this Punxsutawney Phil. Tell me about the Groundhog Day interviews that you've done recently.
So actually, we went last year. So this was a reshare. Right. We work with Buzzy out of Epicast Network up in Allentown. And Buzzy and I got in my car and we drove to Punxsutawney last year, and we interviewed 2 members of the Groundhog Punxsutawney Phil's Inner Circle. Those are the dudes in the top hats, if anyone doesn't know who they are. And I will say that I got the interview because I kind of already had a connection to Punxsutawney Phil. And that was because years ago I was the merch girl for the Beagle Brothers, who are the unofficial band or maybe the official band of Groundhog Day. I'm not really sure. And so I kind of like name dropped in order to get this interview with a groundhog, essentially.
The Beagle Brothers are amazing. They open doors.
They did. They really did. That was a big one. I also got to go on the beer barge, on the Commonwealth Press beer barge, because of the Beagle Brothers. So they really have open, tickets for that are hard to get. So I owe a lot to the Beagle Brothers. Well,
just so everybody that's watching at home knows, you can't use the Beagle Brothers to get into places. It's
only I can.
So only Steph, you cannot. Don't try that at home. I'm just saying because she's got the backup. She could tell you everybody's name in the band. You can't.
You know, I folded a lot of T-shirts for a long time.
Yeah, well, I love the Beagle Brothers. So did you get close to Phil?
We got very close to Phil. Like microphone in the top of his little circular carrier thing. Yes.
How often do they recycle Phils?
It's the same Phil.
Wow.
They give him, there's a special ceremony where they give him the elixir of life. This is top secret. Well, it's not top secret. It's lesser known. It's lesser known groundhog lore, I guess is how you would say it. But every fall, they give Phil the elixir of life, and it kind of looks like it's like a beer bong, like, to be honest. It's like a funnel and a tube, and it's an elixir of life ceremony. And the idea is that, like, gives him what he needs to go into hibernation and then come back out. And so it's been like 136 years. Phil is 100 and something years old. Yeah.
He's kind of like the one knight in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You know, he can't leave his little place, but he gets to live forever.
Forever,
kind of
yes.
thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's got to keep drinking from that cup, that special Punxsutawney beer bong. Okay. All right. Sounds good. And people can see the footage from that right now if they want to see that.
So it's all just an audio episode.
Right. Audio episode. When I say see with their ears.
Yes, they can see with their ears. Correct.
All right, I like that. Okay, so a couple other things here, because you've been involved in lots of stuff. I want like pizza poems.
Okay.
For kids.
Yes.
All right, tell us where that came from.
So originally I went to school for poetry, which is pretty impractical. But I had always been doing events work, and I was teaching creative writing during after school programming, and I just kind of, you know, I'd seen something somewhere. It's like, how do you get more people interested in poetry? How do you get, you know, the community interested in poetry? And so there was this idea, and weirdly, I partnered with Kyle Klein of the Beagle Brothers. This is going to be the theme of the show.
Through line.
Who was also, he was an art teacher. He does not live in Pittsburgh anymore. But, and so we decided we were going to apply for a grant to do this project. And so we worked with his kids and his students, and they wrote poems about pizza. And we screen printed them on boxes. And so the first time we did this, any pizza you got from Spack Brothers on a specific Friday night automatically had a kid's poem on it, right? So you didn't have a choice. Their poems were going out into the world. Everybody loves pizza. Now everybody has to love poetry, I guess.
That's genius. I love that. Yeah. I love that idea.
And then we did a couple other iterations of it. And we did a lot of like live events where I would have people each write one line. And I actually did this for your wife for one of the next 3 days. Was it
next 3 days?
Yeah. But the idea is that people would come and they'd write one line of poetry, and I would put them together into this very large community poem. So I did that quite a few times as well. And
awesome.
People are like, I can't write. And I'm like, no, but you can. And when you put it all together, it's like magic. Like the elixir of life, it just always works. Yeah.
I remember that. Look at this. You were tying evertheing together. This is amazing. I mean, it's great. But what?
There's the Beagle Brothers.
Of course. There's my man right there. Kyle has bailed me out so many times too. I'm a large fan of Kyle and the Beagle Brothers. But question is, being a dinosaur bone maker for museums. Mm-hmm. Now tell me a little backstory on this, because it was I don't know what it means.
Oh, so that's how Pete and I met. Pete used to build dinosaurs, and I managed the office of the place that built dinosaurs. So yeah, I have some very great Pete stories from like circa 2007, right? But yeah, so we worked for a company that built museum exhibits. They specialized in fossil material. So at the time, they were working like at the Carnegie when they redid the Dinosaurs in Their Time exhibit. And if you search the internet, maybe this is something for Dave to do. You search the internet. I believe that Pete made it on some like weird Comcast special where he's like holding a dinosaur bone up in the air for like 10 minutes or something while they're like giving this interview. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, but yeah, so.
What's
That's our-
what's great
that's
about
David's
Pete, is that true, Pete?
True. Yeah.
Well, here's the craziest thing. When you just said like it was like in 2007, and my mind was like, oh, like a year ago. Like I didn't realize that it was actually like a span of time, a decade plus.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that's it. So something else about the very local. I hear some of the guests that you've had. I think our circles are intersecting. Our paths are crossing.
So as I said, I went to school for poetry, but I did do some math this week, and it was, as of today, I have interviewed 4 of the 10 people associated with the show this week, like guests / producers / whatever. So
it's crazy. We only had 3 shows this week. This is the 3rd show, so I mean that you've really got almost everybody. I mean that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I've interviewed Pete. I've interviewed Day. I interviewed Natalie on Wednesday. So that's like
Just this
spoiler
week?
alert. That's not even going to go live yet.
Okay.
And then
There's Pete holding up a dino.
yeah. And then that's a mastodon. And then I interviewed yesterday's guest, Rich Condon, Civil War Pittsburgh, and
there's Rich right now. He looks totally different without his beard, but that's what it is.
He had some great. Speaking of facial hair, you guys he had some great facial hair.
He has great facial hair. We talked about it at length yesterday. We talked about like the use of if when he shaves, it came up. Does he just use a straight razor and like a leather strap to like get really into that Civil War vibe?
I think he might have to with the length of the beard he has.
It's a thick beard. If anyone watched the show yesterday, but yeah, amazing. So what's to come with Pittsburgh? 2 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Oh, that's what Dave's getting at.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's not him at all. That's Kevin Bacon. I was way off. So anyway, so what's going on with the very local Pittsburgh and the Slaw podcast? How can people get at it? I mean, how often is it updated? How often are you posting? So
we were doing every week. We are now doing every other week for audio as we pivot to video. So this week is Groundhog Day episode. Obviously, spoiler alert. I already blew my load there. We have an episode with Natalie Bencivenga. So coming up next after that. And so the podcast is available on Spotify and iTunes, and then obviously direct download from Libsyn. So, yep.
Libsyn, I've heard that name before.
Yep.
Yeah, it keeps on haunting me.
Yeah. So
what's funny is I got a random piece of spam mail sent to my email, and they sent it to patrick@libsyn.com. So it was like the Libsyn was haunting me this week. So anyway, all right, so cool. So we got that all coming up. Anything else you wanna chat about before we roll on? Before I ask you the big question, the big one?
No, I mean, I'm ready for the big question. I might have a question for you.
I'll take it.
Is that okay? All right.
Believe me, the big question is totally not a big question. It's just, where do you fall on the best Bill Murray death in Groundhog Day?
Keep on scratching.
And that's a different groundhog.
Yeah.
And where did you find that footage?
I found that footage. I found that footage today.
No, you didn't.
I did, yeah.
Oh my God.
Hello, I produce things. I'm good at finding stuff on the internet.
I was like, my jaw dropped, but all right, go on.
Yeah, it was on someone's Vimeo. Just so
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So my answer is going to be Bill and Phil off the cliff. Is my vote for the thing.
That's going to be mine as well.
But my question for you,
Sure.
My question for you is actually, so when I end my interviews, I always ask people what is their favorite bridge in the city of Pittsburgh and why. So I'm actually gonna I know this is supposed to be the other way around, but I'm curious. You're a man about Pittsburgh. You've also pivoted from doing in real life events to virtual events.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious about what's your favorite bridge in the city of Pittsburgh and why.
I'm conflicted because there's two bridges that I love. Right, I'm gonna probably the Smithfield Street Bridge. I don't know if it's the history, if it's one of the oldest bridges that's still running right now. Who made the bridge? How it looks? Where it is? I don't know. I think you can still see streetcar tracks on it if you look real close. I'm into the Smithfield Street Bridge, and then there's the Hot Metal Bridge. Pretty much for the name alone. It's not like beautiful architecture, but I'm probably going to go Smithfield Street, I think.
Do you have any like fond memories of the Smithfield Street Bridge?
Man, just looking at it, I've walked across it when I was a kid.
To go to the Beehive?
No, yeah, to go to the Beehive with my silly, like, what would you even call this goatee?
I don't know.
Are they pom-poms, or is it like a double goatee? Is it like a goat squared? Is it like a goat H? What I don't know what this thing is. I can't wait to get rid of it.
But I feel like barbers everywhere are like covering their eyes.
Well, it's confusing because it doesn't really have a message, but it's also like, but if you're going to do this thing, it gives you the padding for that. There it is. That's on my face right now. I should have dyed this orange.
There's always next week.
But that's what it is. I don't know if I have different connections to bridges. It's so funny. It's such a great thing because Pittsburgh being the city of bridges, having more bridges than Venice, Italy. I love a lot of bridges. What was the bridge that they built the bridge underneath the bridge to catch the bridge from falling? Where we go through the Squirrel Hill tunnels coming from outbound in the city. They're closing it again.
Greenfield.
The Greenfield Bridge, which they're going to
Greenfield
close
Bridge.
again and fix it again because something got screwed up.
Well, wasn't Smithfield also was originally a different bridge, and then like the oldest bridge, and then they built the Smithfield Street Bridge on top of it, I think.
Really? I thought it was the same. I thought it was the same bridge, like from the
This
era.
is a Rick Seaback thing, because I swear it's either he was the one who told me this. It was weirdly that's not his favorite bridge, but it was like there was a bridge first, and then they built the other one over it, which is still really old. Like it's still the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
Like the newer version is still the oldest.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
But
well,
I probably need fact checked on that.
I will definitely go with whatever Rick Seaback says.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, he's a wealth of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So, okay, what's yours?
Mine is actually the 16th Street Bridge. I worked for a little bit in the Strip. I liked walking back and forth. I really like the globe things on it.
That's cool stuff. I like those.
Yeah, and apparently at one point in time, if you look really closely, one side they're like polished, and one side they're like that green, like corroded.
Like patina.
And it was originally they were going to clean both sides, and people complained, and so then they only cleaned one side or something. So
this town's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's
right?
It's that's how it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, like on the 10th Street Bridge when they were painting it, and then then Tim Cullen did the movement to save the go ahead.
Geese.
The
Yeah,
geese,
right. Yeah.
You know the story behind that? I mean, that should be a documentary into itself. How those geese got there. But that's for another episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think so here right now. So you ask everybody that question about the bridges. Is that
I asked a lot of people. Yeah, I usually end. It's a newer. Well, I'd say newer thing. I would say within the past year, we've been asking most guests. Yeah.
We've done different showdowns when we used to do overnight polls about your favorite bridge and what it was too. We should work together on this. I think we should have a crossover, like a crossover thing where we kind of bring this together. We should talk more about this.
Okay, we
can.
can.
Combining.
When you asked bridge questions, what was the answer that came up the most? Was there like a definitive answer?
Man, no. I mean, what was it, Pete, Dave? What were the bridges that got the motion?
They were just part of the Jagoff poll. So we did the the Pitt inbound versus the
So you picked one
outbound?
versus the other.
One versus
Okay.
the other. So there was a couple of them, and then generally we would open it up to guests if they wanted to talk about it. But yeah, we had different. We had like traffic patterns on the bridges that were insane, and then we also had, I think it was Smithfield versus Hot Metal, and a couple other bridges with some history on them too. So of course we did like 450 of these things. So it's tough to. We've got everything. Then we were putting.
Is all the data? Yeah, all the data is in a spreadsheet somewhere, though, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere. But anyway. Thank you so much, and for coming on the show. We got to move. If you want to hang out and pop back in later, we're gonna be. We got other guests that you know.
That's right.
All right.
Cool.
So if you want to kick back. All right. Thanks so much, Steph. And everybody check out the podcast, and it's going to be going video soon. The very local, the Slaw podcast. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Stephanie.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you.
See you soon. All right. Fantastic. So coming up next, got a fantastic guest. Before we do that, I want to do a quick shout out to our sponsor, Farm to Table Pittsburgh. If you go to the website, which is farmtotablepa.com, you can find out everything you need to find out about keeping it fresh and keeping it local. You can find out where farmers markets are going to be, how to get CSAs. You can also go to redstartroasters.com, use the coupon code together PGH, you get 10% off at Red Start Roasters. But at Farm to Table PA, go there. You can find out everything that you need to find out about what's happening, where to get your produce, how to keep it fresh, how to keep it local, how to get it delivered to your door, links for days, get lost in it, and keep it going at farmtotablepa.com. All right, so coming up now, it's it's everybody's favorite Friday night segment. She's here with another one. Let's see who Natalie Bencivenga is spending 5 minutes with this week.
Hey everybody, I'm Natalie Bencivenga, host of 5 Minutes With, and this week I have the honor and privilege of interviewing Carey Harris. She is the CEO of Literacy Pittsburgh. It's so nice to have you here with me, Carey.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I am too, and I'm really excited because I want people to learn more about this amazing organization. So can you share a little bit about Literacy Pittsburgh and your role in the community?
Sure. So Literacy Pittsburgh is an adult basic education provider. We serve all of Allegheny and Beaver County. We like to say that we are here for those who have been left behind, those who have just arrived, and those who never, ever, ever give up on the American dream. So what that means is we support American-born adults that need a high school diploma, or they have a high school diploma but are looking to go to college or job training and they need some brush up. We teach English language to immigrants, reading, writing, speaking. We teach citizenship classes, and we do some work with families and children with early literacy.
That's awesome, and such a vital step along anyone's journey. And can you talk a little bit, I heard you say the words American dream. So with the people that you work with, what does that mean to them, the American dream?
Yeah, it's so inspiring. Like I feel like so humbled every day to get to support, I call like our never give upper students, right? So I think the American dream is like all of us, right? They want a family. They want to support their children. They want their children to have a better life than they do. So they want to, clear the pathway for their kids. Whether they're American born or immigrant students, everybody wants the same thing. They want to own a house. They want to vote. They want to have a driver's license. They want to take care of their health. They want to contribute to the community. And they want, meaningful work. They want to be able to support themselves and their family.
So when we're talking about the idea of meaningful work, as it relates to the pandemic, as it relates to everything that's been going on the past couple of years, how has that impacted the people that are working with Literacy Pittsburgh, who are often, I think, like you were saying, sort of ignored or invisible workers or low wage workers?
Right. So yes, if you think about, Natalie, who we serve, they tend to be in the low wage workforce, right? So they would have a high school diploma or less usually. And so they're, you get relegated to a certain kind of work here. It's a lot of hospitality, which is not bad work, but it can be low wage work, a lot of retail work, a lot of service work. And what we have seen happen in the last year, we had unprecedented, historically low unemployment. And then we had whiplash to historically high unemployment that has specifically hit this part of the workforce the hardest. I think I just checked before we got on, 17.5% decrease in low wage jobs in Allegheny County since April. At one point, it was down 35%. We picked up some of those jobs, but it has been trending downward again. So these are our people. And part of what it has meant for us is helping them stage. We say we're helping them stage their post-COVID comeback, right? What is that going to look like for you, right? Let's take advantage of this lemon and make it lemonade and figure out how we can help you get the skills you need, the credentials that you need or want in order to do better on the other end of this. So we've designed a few new programs with that in mind. One of them, I'll talk about it, and if you need me to speed it up, tell me. One of them is working with the Builders Guild of Western Pennsylvania, helping people get into a pre-apprenticeship program there. And if we're launching a new program that if you want to get a pre-apprenticeship and your GED, we can help you do that together. At the end of that pre-apprenticeship program, you're ready for the apprenticeship test. And if you complete it successfully, you have a job. And it's a good job. It's a career. These are really good jobs. We're doing some work with health systems, training their incumbent employees. We've done an immigrant healthcare program, helping immigrant neighbors figure out the various roles available in healthcare in this country, and then how to get themselves into those kind of jobs and job training programs. And we've invested in digital literacy as well, recognizing before the pandemic that digital literacy was increasingly becoming an important part of being a successful and literate adult. We recognized it before, but wow, has the pandemic really surfaced the need for that now. So we've been investing in increasing the digital literacy of our own staff and of the students we work with, so to help them navigate this brave new world online.
Yeah, and that all sounds incredible. And speaking of this brave new world, I know a lot of the work that you do helps people obtain or get close to obtaining their citizenship. And I know with the last administration, things were becoming more and more challenging in terms of being able to do so. What had you seen that had changed for the better or for the worse? And how do you think it's going to be moving forward now that the Biden administration is in place?
So, right, we saw it become much more difficult to be an immigrant in the last few years, very much intentionally so. There was increase to citizenship fees for applying for various forms of citizenship. In some cases, these fees increased by like 85%. So it's bad enough if you're one person, but if you're bringing a family, it becomes exorbitant and puts it out of reach. That was one change we saw happen over the last few years. The other change was this public charge rule, which is sort of a screener for people that want to enter the citizenship process. The screener got much more rigid, let's say, and onerous, so that if there was any chance you were ever going to need any sort of benefit, public benefit in this country, it sort of screened you out of the citizenship process. And then the most recent change came to the citizenship test itself. And right in December, the citizenship test became much more difficult. It has more questions. The questions are confusing, and the language level to access the questions has become more difficult. So I mean, and I could go on, and I think immigration experts could go on even further. It has been difficult. So we are hopeful that the next 4 years, maybe we can roll back some of those changes and go back to being a country that welcomed newcomers, right? And recognized that our aspirations are tied together, right? If we are all thriving and doing better when our neighbor does better as well.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And, as we wrap up this 5 minutes, and I could talk to you, I think, at length on this topic, and you've just provided so much important information. What are your hopes, not only for this incoming administration on a national level as it pertains to immigration and acquiring citizenship, but for the people that you serve with the organization? What are your hopes for them too?
Oh, my hope is that they really do have a comeback post-COVID, or even, at this tail end of COVID, and that this recovery that our region undergoes is an inclusive one, right? That it's one that everybody participates in, and everybody is better off on the other end of it. So it is my hope that we can be a real big part of that in the lives of the thousands of people we serve every year, that they and their children will be better off and positioned for good jobs and contributing to their communities.
Wonderful. Well, Carey, I appreciate you so much for spending 5 minutes with me and sharing the wonderful work of Literacy Pittsburgh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Again, Natalie, I don't know what's going to happen when you don't knock the cover off the ball with another great guest. I mean, it just keeps on happening. I was not aware of the immigrant side of Literacy Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's funny. I had met Carey several years ago when I still worked at the Post-Gazette, and I had learned how much work they did with the immigrant and refugee populations of the city. And I don't think people really are aware of that. I think when you hear like Literacy Pittsburgh, you think, oh, they're helping people, that might need support with language, but you don't really necessarily connect those dots. And the fact that they're so involved with the citizenship process and her frustration with it, I thought was really fascinating, because it really showed, I think, where we were and hopefully now where we can move forward to becoming.
I mean, yeah, and then them raising the bar on the immigration tests, and just in terms of language, yeah, it's tough. It's just amazing that I'm glad there's organizations like Literacy Pittsburgh out there to do that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm so inspired by that, because, and I know you have friends that are immigrants, and I have friends that are immigrants. And, when I just think of like the idea of coming to a different country, having to learn a whole new language, having to understand just sort of the culture and how you fit in a completely different world. Sometimes your skill set not being able to translate and having to start over with education, even if you were a professional in another city or in another country, just all of those things. And then to still want to be such a vibrant part of your community and build new friendships and new relationships. I just don't think we really underappreciate, I think, a lot of our immigrant and refugee neighbors. And I think it's really vital to our communities that we support them, because like she said, when our neighbors do well, that means that we do well. And it's just, altruism isn't actually altruistic. It benefits everybody if we all do well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah. But another great interview. That's so fantastic. And everybody check out literacypittsburgh.org, see how you can help out, or if you need to get involved on any side, you can help or get help, give help or get help. Find out about it there. That's great. So yeah, we've had another week here. And Natalie, if you're just watching for the first time, is a nationally syndicated advice columnist. So had anything else new pop up this week, or was it a slow week?
No, what's been interesting? It's like I'm getting a lot of questions about people dating, and I'm like, how are people dating right now? I think because I'm having the disconnect. I think partly because I'm married, and you're married. It's like we're kind of out of that zone. But at the same time, some of the people writing in, I'm like, I don't understand what's happening, because there is a pandemic. So I don't understand when you're telling me that you've met somebody at a bar, or like you've gone to restaurants and it's a little disjointed for me. And then I'm hearing that people are being ghosted. So it's like I'm getting that question. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, Patrick, to be honest with you. It's like everybody's going out on dates and then they're never seeing people again.
Like, wait, are we talking like they're going out, they're setting up a date and then nobody shows up at the first date?
No, like they go on that date and then it's like they were never.
Do you think people's standards are through the roof? I mean, do you think people are like, hey, if I'm going to risk getting fucking COVID over this, I'm not going to go. I'm just not going to go.
I'm kind of wondering that, because I feel like on the other hand, I'd be like, my standards would be so low because I would just be bored and want to go out.
But you can't, if you're going to like risk being with someone that you don't know and you don't know where they've been, literally. I mean, this is like.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I'm just perplexed by some of the questions I'm getting right now, because people are sending me letters like COVID's not even happening. And that's concerning to me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, you know, like last week I had a question about somebody in his, or maybe it's this week, I can't keep track anymore, but they basically were having an affair. The husband was having an affair, and he had been having an affair for a year. And I'm like, so you, during a pandemic, you were stepping out and then possibly bringing in COVID and God only knows what else, like back into your house. I don't know. It's just like these levels of like disrespect are layered with COVID for me. It's
a crazy
world.
Loving
the time of COVID.
Loving the time of
Sorry,
COVID.
Donna.
Well, we were gonna start our own COVID dating service called OK COVID.
Oh, I like it.
Early on in the pandemic, but I think that ship has sailed.
That's fair.
But it's a weird.
It's a Wild West.
I think Alexi might have come up with that name actually. OK COVID. But anyway, yeah, it's the Wild West. It's crazy. I can't imagine. I think about that sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
Like what you'll be doing to get through this. Because like we're bunkered in. You know what I mean? We're never leaving. But like people are going out and still getting after it and doing shit, I guess.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we're just, you know, we're social creatures. And I think for people, especially if they're living alone and they're single, I do think that there's this like level of just not seeing or touching anybody that's just starting to get to people.
I can imagine that.
You know?
I can totally feel that. But it's
I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying
I'm saying that you can
meet,
but you can meet people, but I'm seeing why, like, maybe the not a second date thing, maybe the standards are like, or maybe everybody has so many options.
That could be.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's hungry for it. You're cutting out the middleman.
Or maybe
you're meeting online.
Go out and then they realize, oh shit, this is really dangerous and I shouldn't do this, and then they just don't call back. Maybe it's like a
if somebody was spitting some good game and there was some sparks happening, you wouldn't be like, oh shit, I can't risk this. So
I don't know.
I don't know either. This is we're in this is, I don't want to say it's the final frontier, but it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world. It really is. So yeah, I don't know. Every week my advice column, I feel like it's like stepping into the twilight zone, because I don't know what people are really thinking at this point. And I'm trying to be, you know, I'm always trying to answer it with like compassion, but sometimes I just want to be like, why the hell are you going out? Like, where are you going?
Yeah, why are you going out anyway? Like
where are you going? I don't know.
It's confusing. It puts you in, all right. One more piece of advice. Okay. What would be your advice for this facial hair configuration I'm rocking here?
I'm all about the happy wife, happy life. So if Eileen likes it, then keep it. And if she's questioning what's going on, then I would consider. So
I'll be shaving this tonight. Like while the show's going on.
5 minutes.
I'll be shaving this while the credits are rolling. Is probably what it is. This is Dave is showing a picture of the Beehive circa 1993, where this facial hair I would have been a god.
Oh my god, you would have been cleaning up in there.
That would have been it. I would have been on top
of the resolution image we could come up with.
I can't believe you found that, dude. I'm really proud of you. That's amazing. All right.
The amount of time I spent at the Beehive. Oh my.
Well, all right.
It was my favorite place back in the day.
It was a good spot. Anyway, well, R.I.P. to the Beehive. But Natalie, thank you so much. We'll be back again this Friday with another installment of 5 Minutes With.
That's right.
We got to get a running total. We got to find out exactly how many we've done. So we got to start tracking that, because we're at 142 episodes. Strike that to a third. How many Fridays?
I mean, I think I'm close to, I think, 45 or 50 at this point. I'll count them up.
All right.
Awesome. I'm actually curious too, because I feel like it's just endless.
It's amazing, and you haven't repeated yet. So
no, but I might have somebody. I don't want to say who, but I might have a first time repeater coming up in the next couple of weeks, because they've done a lot of different things since the last time we talked, and I'm excited to catch up with them. I think you guys will be too.
Fantastic. All right, can't wait. All right, thanks for dangling that carrot. Tune in next Friday for another installment of 5 Minutes with Natalie Bencivenga. Also, ask Natalie advice at gmail.com, and she's at Natalie Benci on the Twits and the Instagrams. Thank you so much.
Always good to be with you.
All right. Okay. So winding out week 46. Why not unwind and talk about some local brews and brew on some other things with the one and only Dave Bracey. There he is.
What's good with y'all, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Every time you come on, I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know if you're going to have a can half in the frame, if it's going to be over here, where you're going to be, if you're on a porch.
Yeah, I mean, I got a new computer, so like I can't frame it like I want to now. It's all weird. I had to download new software and shit. It's a little bit of an upgrade, but I ain't mad at it. I look weird as hell. I look long in this camera.
You look long.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was going to say you lost some weight.
It looked like it. Yeah,
you leaned out.
A better camera, so that 10 pounds is gone, and I mean I could use all the pounds I can get. So I might be switching back to the old phone camera here next week. I don't know.
Well, upon looking at your Instagram and your Facebook, you haven't been missing many meals.
Man, I am putting in work, and I'm just if everybody's losing all this weight. If anybody got any of that they want to send my way, please do so. I just need some walking around weight. I just need to borrow about 15 to 20 pounds that I could just like shed one of these layers and just get an internal one going. So if anybody got any tips or tricks, because clearly fried food and beer isn't working. That's what they keep saying, and it's not enough. So
you're blessed. You're blessed.
Right?
Man. You're blessed.
Blessed until I die skinny and pretty like Michael Jackson. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be a pretty corpse. But a corpse nonetheless, the way this heart is.
I think you've got some steps before you get to Michael Jackson level. I mean, it might not just be the weight.
I don't know, man. Everybody was like, let's look at this guy looking so good and doing these crazy dance moves. And don't get me wrong, my dance moves are very on point still. But, if I keep eating like this, I don't know. It might not be too long for the earth. But despite that, I'm loving the meals and the beers that I'm drinking here these days. I feel like the industry knows our struggles and is just putting out a lot of great beer as a result. So shout out to the industry for keeping us sane. Right now I'm sipping on this. I stopped at Roundabout Brewing. If you don't know, Steve is out there making some of the best beer in the world, let alone Pittsburgh. He's like your brewer's brewer. So if you ever talk about some folks, you talk to any of the brewers and you're getting some pointers and some tips, and you ask them who's some of your favorites out there. Steve typically comes up in that conversation, and you could tell. Listen, man, I love the can. It's very simple, right? They don't distribute often, and if you see this sitting on the shelf. While I love the simplistic logo and things of that nature, it doesn't catch your eye. It doesn't jump off the shelf and go, drink me, right? That's because the shit in the can is so good.
That shit in the can looks good. This new computer, Daisy.
Crazy technology and shit like that, but, the product is shit on the inside. I mean, so, it's a good beer if it's selling and it looks like this, not the shit on their design or anything like that. It's nice, but some of these cans, they got all kind of crazy, Mona Lisa on there looking like a cat and rocket ships and shit, and it's busy, right? This guy's just like, look, if you want it, it's there. If not, fuck off. That's what this can says.
It's beer flavored beer.
It's man. So this is Sweetest Thing. It's an 8% porter. Ooh. And it's got chocolate and a little bit of coffee. A little bit of bitters, like you would have, in your porters. It's a little thinner than a stout. At 8%, it's nice. You can have maybe 2 of these in an evening, and not be upside down as a result. So, there's a lot of folks putting a lot of crazy shit in their beers. And don't get me wrong, I love that shit. I love lactose. I love pastry stouts. I love Oreos and marshmallows and all the weird shit that you throw in there. But I also like a nice, simple porter that's, and this is sweeter. So it kind of counteracts that bitter. It gives it a nice dark chocolate flavor and a thinner viscosity. So, it doesn't feel heavy, in the stomach. So shout out to Steve making some lights out brew. And if you're looking at, they're down in Lawrenceville, serving out the side of their So like it's a very backdoor type deal in Lawrenceville, kind of, you slide to the side, you do 3 knocks, and somebody comes to the door and like, yo, what do you want? And it's a very, cash in hand type deal. I don't know if they take cards, but anytime I go to a side door somewhere, I got cash in hand. I just want this transaction to go smoothly and be in and out. So,
but those kind of places, those kind of transactions, it makes it taste better. There's an element of danger that comes to it that makes it more worthwhile.
You damn straight, man. You damn straight. If you live through a back alley deal in Lawrenceville, the shit tastes a little sweeter. So shout out to Steve Roundabout, man. By the way, love the new cut. I see you over there. Did you have to leave the house this week?
I actually left the house this week. I got my haircut, and then there's this shit, which is not going to make it to morning.
Is that the Raj Al Ghul?
The Raj Al Ghul. Oh, I like that. I like that. If I had him a little bit longer, that'd be a time A.
I see you bringing some of back some of your Batman theme. Did you?
Oh, my Batman theme. I'm going back to the roots, hoping to get another paycheck. But yeah, I don't know. This came off of there's Batman on the spot right there. This came off of somewhat of a dare here on the show. Last Thursday, we did the Bernie off thing, and one of the judges had Dave shave that monkey tail, or I forget what you called it. Who originated that?
The big grass shit.
The big grass, yeah. The Dave rocked, and then whatever it was, either Marta or Dave. I think it might have been Dave, but said like, "Oh, you know what you should do? Shave everything but the white. Shave everything that's not gray around." Dave, is that what happened? What do we call this? Pom-poms? I like the Raj Al Ghul a little bit better.
Telling you, man, I want to learn some karate moves off you right now. I feel like you got a dojo on the top of a mountain somewhere.
Whoa.
Just
Well, first you would have to do is you'd have to bring me beer, and in a certain way. And then you'll find out later that the way you brought me that beer was training. It was your training all along. Kind of like a wax on, wax off, but like, you open that for me, Day. Open that can for me. That kind of thing. Tap that mini split. Anyway,
I like it. I like it, man. It's very debonair.
Well, it's gonna be gone soon. It's that I don't think it's going to make it to morning. I mean, I have to shave it for a reason. I actually got a random job that I'll work for the first time in a year next week. So I'm going to have to shave this up. Otherwise, I would have let this thing go. We've decided here that we might have missed an opportunity here to do messed up shit to ourselves and our look and our hair and whatever during the pandemic, stuff that you're not really going out anymore. Dave, I think, Dave, are you going to do a mohawk? Pigtails?
I don't think I'm physically able to do a mohawk. I think
you missed that boat.
You know what I mean?
Well, then Pete should do the half shaved and half long, like Bick. That's what he's going to do. He's going to shave half his head.
Bick? I'm not bicking.
You're going to Bick shave half the head and leave the other half exactly like the George Michael status that you're living in right now. You're so Parker Lewis can't lose. Yeah. So the other half will be Parker Lewis can't lose, and this half will be Bick shaved.
Should I shave this half of my beard too?
No, the opposite side.
The opposite side.
So like where the hair is, you go. Oh shit! I do have a James Hetfield thing happening.
Wow.
Hang on, guys.
Oh no! Wow. Don't play any metal. All right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
At some point, Dave, you got to pull up Raj Al Ghul and Batman. The Batman Begins. That shit is spot on. All you need is a little, and then you get the points down there. I might even do that. That might be my next thing.
You could pull that off. I don't think I'm ready for that.
With it, you know what I mean? And go teach some young bucks.
You could probably do it soon because I'm gonna do
that shit as soon as the weather allows my face to be out here a little bit more naked. Again, man, I'm a skinny motherfucker, so I can't just be out here. Like, this is warmth. All this is a layer. You see this as a fashion thing. This is a survival mode for me. You see what I'm saying? I shed like 8 pounds of hair earlier this month, and I'm still recovering.
But I could imagine. But you could like double mask it and cover where that beard used to be when you're out there, you know?
Mm.
Think. So, any other beer this week before I bring up another fun fact? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
There it is.
His
So,
goatee kind of looks like a Batman head upside down. Check that out.
Christopher Nolan probably planned for that.
So I got a Trace coming in over here, and they're doing some lights out shit over there. They just opened up in Bloomfield. Shout out to the Trace boys.
Mm-hmm.
They released a couple of IPAs and a sour. This first one is A Change Is Gonna Plum. A Sam Cooke reference.
Love it.
I haven't quite had it yet, but it's a plum apricot sour. So it's a kettle sour, so it's going to be a bit more sour and not as, I guess, smoothie as a lot of the other sours can be. This other one is an IPA. Love is the way. Need a little bit of that coming in to this new year. And it's it's an IPA. It has the Galaxy hop, so it's going to be extremely citrusy and more of that New England style IPA on the bitterness side. And then Tessellated Paradise. And again, I love these labels. I mean, they're that modern kind of, like it's I don't know what the hell it is, but it's nice to look at. But the beer is also good inside. So shout out to the guys for doing what they do. But Tessellated Paradise, again, another IPA, and it's gonna be a bit more melony with the mosaic hops, and that's why it kind of has more of that green hue to it. You're gonna get more of a melony flavor out of it, and I love anything that has tessellated on it, because tessellated is another term for a three-way, and there's so many songs and like references to it, and people don't fully understand what it means. It just means, three people in the bedroom. So Tessellated Paradise. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Tessellated Paradise is something that you bring back home when you have, more than one person there that may enjoy the beverage with you now and later. So shout out to
sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. So shout out to Trace for the brews, and definitely looking forward to what they brew for the fest that's happening later this year. So excited for that.
Okay, so speaking of drinks and stuff, when Steph was on here earlier, is Steph still in the system, Dave?
She had to go, but she gave everybody a goodbye.
Okay, great. There's a photograph that she sent. Can you bring that up with it also has some amazing facial hair in it, but it's also Punxsutawney Phil drinking that elixir that keeps him young after 105 of these that keeps him young and hibernates him for 105 years. Check this out. This is Punxsutawney Phil getting that beer bong of elixir from that honey pot or whatever it is that they snake down that groundhog's mouth. And if you can zoom in, Dave, the guy who's holding the straw has a wicked kind of facial hair on his. What I want to know is that a mustache or is that a goatee? That's something serious.
Is this this is definitely peak caucasity, first and foremost. I just wanted the picture that I'm looking at right now is absolutely the whitest thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life. I mean, you're pouring craft beer into a gopher, like
it's a groundhog.
It's a groundhog. Yeah.
Keep on scratching.
Yo, is this animal cruelty? Has PETA seen this? Yeah, I mean, and what is really in that? Like,
well,
are they passing it around afterwards?
Dude, it's the Ponce de Leon Fountain of Youth serum. This groundhog's over 110 years old, apparently.
So is the man holding him. So clearly you're passing that motherfucker like, that's a puff pass type situation. Like,
All right. I just thought to bring that up. I thought it was timely. So there you have it. Look at the.
It is almost it is almost Groundhog Day. What is that? Tuesday?
It's coming up. It was timely. That's why we're bringing it up. And
man, time is such a weird fucking thing. Can't believe it's almost February out this bitch.
It's a flat circle day. I have no fucking. I mean, pardon my language. I have no clue what. Yeah, when you say that, and we're coming up on a year, right? Like February is only 28 days, right?
Yeah.
And then after that's done, March happens. So like 2 or 3 weeks ago was when they reported the first case of COVID in the U.S., right? That was a couple of weeks ago when it was just like, oh, it's just one person in like Seattle or something, right?
Yeah.
And then it's cool. It'll be away. It'll go away in no time. And then now we're at this. There's 440,000 people reported that have died. And we're still living this same quarantine life. And now there's variants that are going to say like this shit's that could make it worse. So
yeah, man. Yeah. So, I mean, I was reading about that, double masking up. My mask has multiple layers in it.
Right.
So shout out to my sis and the folks that, keep me masked up. But yeah, I mean, reading about it, it feels like a race. At one point it was just kind of sitting around and I don't know, like waiting and putting everything on pause. And if you did the right things long enough, then eventually you would get there. Now it seems like a race where it's like, not only do you got to do the right shit, but science needs to fight this at a faster pace so that we can, get there. And then, it also, for me, it reminds me and it should remind everybody else that we're in this together. Like America is like borders are bullshit, right? Just like we saw the stock market, it's all bullshit. It's fake. We made that shit up. When you're walking across a land, you don't see that line sitting there. You might see a sign if you're in the right place that says you're going from this land to that land, and you might see a wall or a fence, and there might be folks checking or whatever. But at the end of the day, borders and the market are all bullshit. And if we do not beat this globally together, it's going to keep kicking our ass. So you can't just solve it in America and then you're like, all right, well, it's all good here, and then let it ravage Africa, because Africa is part of the earth. And they're going to, just like Europe and just like Asia, and it's going to mutate and it's going to get back here, just like it did when it broke out in China. So everybody that's, oh, America first, that whole America first mentality that we were living through for the last 4 years through Trump and various folks, the reason why that is a flaw, the reason why capitalism is a flaw, the reason why, there's racism and bigotry is a flaw, is that we have to share this planet with everybody. And if the bottom of the population is not doing well, we're all not doing well. And we might have moments of these, oh yeah, things are cool, we get to have this and that or whatever. But eventually the house of cards falls, and you find, everybody's at the bottom. And this pandemic is really teaching us, man, we can't just focus on, certain populations. Everybody needs to be vaccinated. Everybody should be educated. Everybody should have some kind of opportunity to help advance themselves, because it helps advance the population as a whole, man. And I don't know. I just hope that people catch on, because I mean, them Brazilian strains and this African strains and the UK strains, like all these strains are popping up, and they're not going to go away just because we get a vaccine, ourselves, and then try, isolation doesn't work, man. You see China, they had to open up their borders after so many years. I mean, so hopefully we learn that lesson. If not, this pandemic's going to be much longer than any of us think, man.
All right. Well, let's hope for the best, and keep acting like the worst is coming, because the other thing is the U.S. is still the worst, right? Numbers wise, right? There's other variants going on. I know we're starting to get vaccines and stuff, but some arrogance and the not wearing masks over the last 9 months kind of got us to the point where our numbers were 5% of the world's population, and we're like 35% of the COVID cases and a giant number of deaths. So it's like, we're not, it's not like, oh, Europe is bad. Oh, South Africa is horrible. Like we're kind of, our hands aren't clean. Anyway, get on this for a while. I like what you said though.
Yeah, no, I mean, but even then, you're looking at the amount of samples that are being tested after people test positive,
right?
And it's less than 3% that are. So, like these variants that are popping up in these other countries on these other continents are popping up because they're testing them more.
Right.
They're seeing whether or not these variants. I would imagine, and I'm again, I'm not a scientist or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see American variants, given the rampantness that it is spreading, once they pop up on our radar. Yeah, I mean, again, if we were testing the specimens as much as some of these other countries, we might already see that. But again, not only are we not testing as much, but we're also not spreading the information as fast. So like, folks like you and I who are, very much on top of our news. And again, when I say very much, I'm not the most informed motherfucker on the planet, but like, because, I saw articles in like the Independent and the Guardian and BBC and Al Jazeera. You see what I'm saying? All these foreign, like rags or whatever, because I'm reading foreign papers, I'm seeing what's going on in the other world. Whereas the American media really isn't, like, they're slow to report on some of these things. So, again, it's, I'm afraid for the future, but I'm hopeful that, folks, kind of figure out what it is and move forward. Always a down note when we're talking about beer.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pivot, right, to something that's morbid but funny, right? You ever see the movie Groundhog Day? All right. Which do you think was your favorite of his deaths? We've got a list of 4 here going tonight on the show. This is our in-show poll. So we've got him jumping off the light tower, swan dive off the light tower, electrocute himself with a toaster, driving off the cliff with Punxsutawney Phil, and what's the 4th one? I'm forgetting one. Oh, stepping in front of a Mack truck. So in the world here that we're living in, it looks like Bill and the driving off the cliff is in the lead right now. Currently, no one's really into stepping in front of the truck. We don't condone this. We don't think you should do this, even though you're feeling like you're Bill Murray living the same day in life over and over and over again for the last 10 months. How do you fall here? You could swing this thing.
Oh man, I mean, the toaster in the bathtub is just because it rocked the old ladies. Yeah, I mean,
downstairs,
and just like it was like, oh, like it was dark in an old lady kind of, I mean, in a very
okay, I like it. Okay,
because they had to. They had to find the body. Right. Like the rest of those were just like, oh, but like, just watching those old ladies go up and see Phil in the bathtub. I feel like he was annoyed by those old ladies and just was like,
all right,
like a fuck you to them in some way.
All right. Here's a fun fact. In the movie Groundhog Day, which that is not it. That is Toonces the driving cat. But in Groundhog Day, there is a cameo, a small role played by Michael Shannon, who's gone on to play a lot of crazy roles. He was not Lex Luthor. He was Zod in the Superman remake. He was on a Boardwalk Empire. He was the crazy FBI agent. Mike Shannon to see him. He is a teenager the one that he gets the tickets for WrestleMania.
I got to see this because I love Zod. Zod was one of my favorite bad guys in superhero
and lore
films. Like, right. I mean, so
we're gonna wind things up here tonight. I think we've got a tie on the electrocution in the bathtub. We're gonna say goodbye to my Ra's al Ghul facial hair clip. But Dave, what we should show here? Ra's al Ghul himself, Liam Neeson, sans the facial hair, has something to say about mask wearing.
Keep on scratching.
You definitely be scratching.
Son of a bitch.
Wear a mask.
Cuts the visibility.
I already know what you look like.
See, and also Batman has something to say about mask wearing too.
All right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Well, how many of you are there?
Oh, there's dozens. I'd rather not say exactly.
Oh, come on. Come on. I was Anyway, and the hell with it. Everybody, thank you all for joining us. I want to thank Dave Bracey, Natalie Bencivenga. I want to thank Steph from very local Pittsburgh. Everybody, Pete, Dave, thanks for keeping that monkey tail as emotional support for me tonight. Dave, what is that you're pouring?
Oh, this is that plum.
Oh, the plum.
Change is gonna plum, man.
Okay.
It is. Look at, and it matches. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful fucking color, man. Shout out to Trace.
Good work. All right, there it is. Shout out to Trace. All right, so we're gonna be back on Wednesday. Aaron Hart's gonna be back with more stuff about Farm to Table. Kate Romaine's gonna be back on Thursday, and Day and Natalie will be back on Friday with some other guests peppered in there. It's gonna be a good week, and hopefully it won't feel like Groundhog Day. So we're going to wind things down here. Thank you very much. And screw it. Might as well say what Sally Wiggin has to say tonight.
When I walk out and there's someone without a mask and they come too close to me, I'm just racked with fear, and then I want to punch them in the face.
Never gets old, and neither does Sally. So thank you all very much. We're going to be back. We'll be back on Wednesday. Take care of each other. Keep wearing your mask. Wear 2 masks if you can. Social distance. Wash your hands. And take care of each other. Also, if you need to check in on some friends that you haven't talked to in a while, they might be going through some shit. Do that. Just check on your people. Make sure everybody might need some help here. So you don't know what people are going through. So be sure to check in on everybody. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
Wear a mask.
I'm not afraid to be seen standing up to these guys.
The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
Thanks. Say goodnight.
You're alive, 25.
Keep on scratching.